guys, it's LEGO Boys E3. This is my tutorial on advanced F2L. So this video is going to be kind of an extension to my beginner's F2L video, so if you don't already know F2L, then go ahead and click the link right at the top of the description. That'll bring you to my tutorial on everything you need to know about beginner's F2L. Also, if you don't know how to solve a cube yet, I'll also have a link down there to start solving a cube. So before you begin starting to watch this tutorial and use some of these tips, I would recommend being at least proficient with the beginner's F2L method. At the very minimum, I want to say you should have at least a couple hours of just solving the cube using basic F2L and just kind of getting comfortable with all those cases, because if you're not comfortable with the cases in this tutorial, you will get lost. Personally, it was many weeks, maybe even months before I learned all these things. So in this tutorial, I'm going to be going over some of the basic cases that I showed you in the beginner's method, as well as some more specific cases that I didn't specifically show you in the beginner's method, but I showed you a way of generally solving a big group of them. There are more efficient ways for doing each one of those particular cases, and that's what I'm going to be showing you. And also in this tutorial, I'm basically just going to be showing each case once or twice, and so it should seem pretty fast for you. If you ever get lost, it's fine, you can just go into the description and I'll have time codes for every single case. But I'm going to assume that you don't need a big long explanation for every single case anymore, because you're pretty advanced at this now, and you should be able to pick up a new case with just a couple of examples. So first off, I'm just going to show you this one simple case, which doesn't really fall under any other category, but it's very simple to fix and very simple to do more efficiently. So in my beginner's method tutorial, which I would recommend skimming over if you learned F2L from elsewhere, because I will be referencing it a lot, I told you to look at the top colors of a case like this, and if they're the same, then we're going to be lining it up to the adjacent case where the pieces are right next to each other. And so generally you would do that by turning the white side, the side that has the white sticker on it, down. But since that also hides the edge piece in this case, we actually want to hide the other piece, and then do that, and then this, and bring that around. But there's actually a much simpler way of doing this, which you definitely should start doing instead. And so yeah, instead of doing two setup moves, hiding pieces 2 times, and then getting the piece over to here, what you can instead do is just do one single kind of setup move kind of thing. But instead of bringing this corner piece down by turning the side that has white on it again, we move the piece up. And so yeah, again, you look at this piece, you find the side that has white on it, you move it up. Now you move it over across, so like across from where it just was. It was right here. We bring this up, across from where it was, and back down. And now we just sets up to this basic case, and we can insert it into the slot, just like normal. Once again, for this special case that I showed in the beginner's method, where you do it like this, and then this, instead what you want to do is start off like this, and you move the corner piece up, over across to there, and now we have it set up to this basic case where you have them opposite colors, and you can insert it just like that. Now, other than that one case, if you remember back to my beginner's method where I had those 2 basic sets of cases, one of which where you had opposite colors on the top, one of which where you had similar colors on the top, other than that one case, the way that you guys already should be going about solving it using those beginner's method algorithms is the most efficient way of solving those cases. So I guess we can move on now to the white up cases, which is my third main category. And this one has a lot of things that you can do to improve and get more efficient. Now there are 4 main cases of this where you have white up and both the pieces are on the top layer, and that basically corresponds to the edge being here, 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 or here. And so this case right here is pretty much the easiest one to do efficiently. Pretty much you can recognize it by having adjacent pieces right here, and if you look at the front 2 colors like this, they will be the opposite color. Now if you remember back to my beginner's method tutorial, I said that you could do it like this on this side, or like this on this side. So you can do it like this to set up, or like this to set up. But the most efficient way to do it in this case is you take the side that has both the edge and the corner already on it. So not this side only has the corner on it, you want to take this side. So now what you do is you bring this corner piece up, and note that you're effectively hiding this edge piece down here because now doing U-turns doesn't affect it. And now what you do is you bring this corner piece over with a U2, either direction, so up, U2, and you bring that side back down, and now that sets up to just the basic case, just like this. Now of course you can also have white up cases that are adjacent like this, where the colors are the same right here, and so this one is going to be a lot harder. This one you actually have to learn kind of an algorithm for it. This is the algorithm that I like to use. There are other algorithms for it too. Basically, I'm just going to show you this intuitively. Also, if you don't really want to use an intuitive version and you just want to learn the algorithm, I will put that down in the description. So basically what you do is you hold it like this, where the slot's right here, and the pieces are right here, so it's kind of like off to this side. And what you do is you bring the slot up, you bring the corner piece into the slot, kind of weirdly like this. You bring this back down. Now you move the edge piece over back behind the slot. Now you can bring the corner piece back up, And now you match up the corner piece with that edge back in the back there. You can see they're matched up, and bring this side back down. And now you have it paired, and you can just insert it just like that. Now, yeah, that was confusing, so I'm just going to do that again for you guys. So here is the case. We have white facing up, we have them adjacent, and the colors are the same on the front there. So we want to bring it around so it's in front of the slot. In this case, we actually don't want to hold it like this because the pieces are off on this side. So this is the mirror of the case that I just showed you. So we want to bring it back to there. We bring the slot up, put the corner piece in the slot, and bring it back down. Now we bring this edge over, we bring the slot back up, match up the corner piece with the edge, and bring it back down. Now we can just insert this pair here, and there we go. So yeah, that one was kind of confusing. That's just kind of how it is. If you followed along with that, I would recommend using that intuitive way of just moving the pieces around. If not, again, I'll have the algorithms down in the description. Trust me, that will be just about the hardest case that you'll come across. So that was 2 of those cases where the edge is next to the corner piece, and now there are 2 more where the edge is away from the corner piece. So these ones look very similar like this. So this is one of the cases, and this is the other one of the cases. Basically, how I tell these 2 apart is I look at the front color right here, and I look at this top color. If they are different, then this is the easy case. If they're the same, well, this one's a little bit harder. And you're going to want to start these cases by putting the pieces kind of right in front of you, so you can pretty much always use that trick for recognizing it. Just look at these front 2 colors like this. If they are opposite again, we're going to do this. So we bring the corner piece up, we do a single U-turn, and then we bring that back down. So we want to make sure that we're not bringing this edge back down or anything. Just do a single U-turn, just like this, and bring it back down. And now that sets up to an easy case. Okay, so now onto the second case. We have these 2 pieces right here. We look at the front colors, they are the same. And so this time, instead of bringing this corner piece up, we're actually going to be bringing the edge piece up. And so in this case, you want to make sure that you have a free slot over by the edge. This is something that I haven't really been mentioning in this tutorial, but you always want to make sure that you have a free slot and you're not messing up something when you're doing a setup turn like this. So yeah, make sure there's a free slot down here. Here's the edge piece, here's the corner piece. Now we're actually going to be hiding this edge piece back here instead of the corner piece. We'll bring the corner piece around back on top of that edge by just doing a U2 move. And now we just bring it back down, and you see we have it set up here to just insert it. Here is that one more time with these 2 pieces. Again, put them in the front, and now we have the same colors there and there. And so what we want to do is bring this edge back there, do a U2, and bring that back down. And now we just have this easy case just like that. So now we're going to move on to the cases where we already have at least one piece inside of a slot, and so like this one right here. Now when I first showed you how to do these, I gave you a lot of options. I said you could do it from this side, you could do it from this side, and you can have the U turned as many times as you want. And so that creates a lot of different combinations for doing cases more efficiently. So I'm just going to start off with cases where we have a single edge inside of the slot, just like this. And so if we have white facing up, this is actually the best case that we can get. So this is the only time that you should really be excited that white is facing up, is when the edge is already in the slot. So what you want to do is always just bring the corner piece right above the edge. Now it doesn't always line up perfectly like this, but sometimes it will. If it does line up perfectly, well, you can just bring it out just like this, and then insert it. So that was easy. Now what happens if you have the edge already in the slot, you have the corner piece with white facing up, you bring it over on top of it, but the pieces are kind of flip-flop like this. Now this solution is actually just as simple. Instead of bringing the piece out and just doing the normal case like this, what you want to do instead is just do double sexy move. So that is R, U, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime. You can leave off the last U prime if you want. And now you see we have this basic case right here. We can just move it above the slot and put it right in. In fact, if the pair that you're putting in when you're doing that is already above the correct slot that it needs to go into, you can just expand that algorithm by doing one extra sexy move at the end, and it will put the slot in just like that. Okay, now let's say that we have the edge piece in the slot, but the matching corner piece does not have white facing up. This one will be a little bit harder, but it still is pretty simple. So most of the time, you're going to want to just set this up so you have opposite colors on the top. So to do that, you want to look at the top color on this corner piece. In this case, it's orange. And so then you look down here at the edge, and since we're getting opposite colors on the top, that means that we want to have blue on the top. And so instead of turning it like this, because that would mean orange on the top, just like the corner piece, which we don't want, we want to move it up like this. So this has blue on the top. And so it's a little bit hard to explain, but basically you just want to position this corner piece so that once you bring up this edge, it will already be in the correct spot to line it up and just put the slot right in. So it wouldn't be back here because that is not the right case, you see. It can't be back here or anything because that will just mess everything up. Instead, we want to put it right here so that once we line up and put this edge up here, you have this case and you can just put it in like that. So I guess a simpler way of thinking about this is figuring out which orientation you want the edge piece to be in. So in this case, we have orange facing up, so we want to have blue facing up on this edge piece. So you figure out what orientation you want it, so on this side, and then you have to figure out where you want the edge to be. So in this case, relative to this corner, you want it to be right here. So we bring it up right there, bring that back over and like that, and then we can pair it up. Or depending on the case, you might have something like this where you want to have blue facing up and you want to have it right here relative to the corner piece. You can see that the edge needs to be right there, blue facing up relative to that corner. So we just bring it up like this, bring that over and back down, and now we have the corner piece set up to just insert into its slot like that. Now inversely, let's just say that we have the corner piece down in the slot and we have an edge piece up here. So there's two ways that you can bring this corner piece out of the slot, disregarding this edge for now. You can either bring it up like this, which will end up with a white up case, which of course we don't want, or we can bring it up like this. And so pretty much every single time you're going to want to bring it up so that this other color other than white will be on the top. And so coming back to the edge here, that means that if the color piece on the corner other than white is orange and the top color on the edge is orange, that means that we're going to be making an adjacent case. And so it's simple enough to see how to do this. You just bring the corner piece right up adjacent to it, and you have it set up just like this to put it in the slot. Now on the other hand, if you were to look at this corner piece and the non-white color is blue and the top color here is still orange, that means that we're going to be setting up to an opposite case. And so instead of just bringing it up like this and making it right next to each other, instead we just want to bring it around to the back and then up, and now we have an opposite case. We can just bring it in just like that. Now if the corner piece is in the slot like this but white is facing downwards, well, now we have a choice. Neither way will bring up white on the top, so we can do either way. And so now instead we're going to look at the color of the edge and we're going to use that to determine which side to bring up. In this case, since it's orange, we want to make it opposite, so we're going to bring up the side that has blue on it. So since we're going to be turning up this side, that means we're going to want to have the edge piece all the way on the opposite side of this side. So like this, the edge piece is just back there. Now we bring it up, so we have blue right there. We bring it over and back down. And now we have it set up to just put it in just like that. Again, the piece is in the slot, white is facing down. We want to look at the top color of this edge piece. It happens to be blue, so we want to use the side that has orange on it. And so we want to turn this side to bring orange up. We want to have the edge opposite of that, so that we create this nice little case right here. Bring that up and over, and now we can put it in the slot just like that. Now of course, occasionally when you have a corner piece in the slot and white is facing downwards, it'll sometimes be in the correct slot. And so in this case, we have a couple of different choices. We can either just insert the edge using the normal beginner's method algorithm like that, or what we can do instead is we just bring up the side that has red on it, because this is blue right here, like this, and then insert it like that. So whichever way you do it, it should still have the same number of moves and the same number of rotations, so you can really just choose which one you want to do. And now finally, if you have both pieces already in the slot, so not just one edge or one corner, you have both of them right together like this. If it happens to be just like this, already paired up and white is facing down, they're together matching, well, it's simple enough. You can just take it out and put it in the correct slot. If it's similar to that, but the colors are not matching, so you don't have a fully made pair, you can just do the same thing. Just take the pieces out like this. You can do it the other way too. It doesn't really matter. Then set it up like you would in the beginner's method and insert it just like that. Now in any other case where you have both pieces already in the slot, you will have two options. Either bring it so you have white facing up like this, or bring it so you don't have white facing up. So you're always going to want to choose the not white facing up option, like this, in most cases at least. So we don't have white facing up now. Now we can just do the normal case that we would do for this case. And there we go, we got it in. And that's the same for any case like this. So we could bring it up like this so that white's on top, but instead we're going to bring it up like this. Now I'll just do the basic beginner's method way of solving this case and put the piece right in. And so that is basically it with all the cases that I wanted to show you today. So those are the most basic cases that you can improve upon in your F2L, just making things more efficient. There are more things that you can do, of course, like there are some more special cases. Like let's say, for example, you have an edge piece already in the correct spot. You have the corner piece up here. Instead of like bringing the edge piece out and doing cases like that, what you could do instead is just do a D move, as long as you have this slot open. Put the corner piece in and bring it back. So I guess you could call that keyhole, and in some cases it actually can be quite a bit more efficient than just solving it normally. And so like in this case too, when you have the corner piece down here, you could bring this off to the side and just insert the edge into the right spot and over here. You just need to be careful about preserving slots, because that actually messed up this slot over in the back here, even though it didn't really look like it did. It could have messed it up if we got a piece in there. So yeah, that's just something really basic. You can rewind that and go through it and watch it again if you want to see exactly how I did that. I use those occasionally. They are pretty helpful. Also, one more thing to try out once you've learned all these things that will definitely help you get faster over time is trying to do things from multiple angles. So I don't mean like doing something by doing F moves. That is very much inefficient. I mentioned that in my beginner's method. You pretty much always want to avoid doing F moves. But instead, if you were to do something by 180 degrees, instead of having R and L moves, that would be L and R moves. It's pretty much the exact same thing. And so I'll show you a quick example of that. Let's say we have this case, set it up to that. And now instead of rotating the whole cube 180 degrees, what we can do is just line up this in the back and put it in just like that. And so yeah, pretty much any case that I've showed you today, you can also do it from the back side. So here's one right here. We can hide that edge down here instead of in the front, bring this piece up to there, and now we can just insert it in the back like that. So that is one quick trick that will get you a lot faster, but it does take a lot more practice than the rest of these things. So I would recommend doing it eventually, maybe not as soon as the stuff I showed you in this video. Maybe you can do it at the same time, but I would recommend learning those eventually. Also, there are some very intuitive things that I'm not really even going to touch today, but basically if you have all your slots filled up or you have like one in the back filled up and you're trying to set up something like this, maybe you'd want to go down and then over, but that would mess up the slot. So instead we have to rotate and do this. Instead of doing that whole thing, what you can do instead is maybe do U2 moves, and then you can set up doing this by moving the edge piece instead. And there we go, now we have the pieces set up. But that's very advanced, that's once you get further down the road. And you've already learned all these things, that's more of advanced F2L as opposed to kind of intermediate advanced F2L, which is what I showed you today. But yeah, pretty much after you leave this tutorial, everything that you're going to be doing is just doing intuitive moves to get things a little bit faster, a little bit more efficient, having to rotate a little bit less. And yeah, it's just not the easiest thing to explain. So this will be my last F2L tutorial. But anyway, I hope this video helped you by kind of explaining those cases that I didn't really go over in much detail in my beginner's method tutorial and showing you better ways of doing the ones that I did show you how to do inefficiently. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you need any help with these cases, then go ahead and leave a comment down below. I would also recommend going back and looking at the video again, kind of seeing if there's anything you missed. And if this whole thing just doesn't make any sense to you, I would recommend going back to my beginner's method tutorial or just practicing more beginner's F2L before you get to this. That's all I have for this tutorial. I'll see you guys next time.